Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, July 5th lunar eclipse and the 2-year journey that it is closing up. Yes, I'm taking you through rising sign by rising sign, what your work has been for these past 2 years. Before we dive in, if you could do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell on. It really helps me to keep these cosmic videos coming. I appreciate it so very much. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So with this eclipse, it is opposing Mercury, so news could come out. And this eclipse is on the south node, which is an ending and a finale. If you think back to the eclipse on June 5th, which was also a lunar eclipse on the south node, think about how emotional and devastating that time was. We're in for another one, but this work has been in progress for the past 2 years. So with this opposition to Mercury, news could come in, and it might be upsetting to hear at the time. Try not to react right away as Mercury is retrograde. This eclipse also paints this beautiful path for our way out. It is trining Uranus. So it's closing up of this old chapter, but giving us a path of how we can innovate and move forward. So fear not the evolution. With every ending, there's a beginning. With every breakup, there's space in your life and in your heart to invite in new people. With every job layoff, there's more time to really ponder the world and your place in it. So really be gentle with yourself and with others if there is a lot of emotional turmoil part of it. But allow that trine to Mercury to remind you of the big picture of what you're evolving and what you're innovating into. So I'm going to take you rising sign by rising sign, what your journey has been these past 2 years and how it's culminating. Think back to July 2018. That is when this axis began. So I'll begin with Aries rising. Aries, your work has been around home, prioritizing home, what it means to create a sanctuary. You could have moved during this time, or you could have taken a bigger role to be part of your family. You really prioritize your internal world, and you learned the strength that comes from that. You're learning what it means to take care of your home, to nurture your family, to really make sure that your most private world is safe and sound and healthy. And now you can build forward with more ease and more clearness on who it is that you are, how you take care of yourself, how you take care of those closest to you. And you might have found these past 2 years that career didn't pan out exactly as you thought it would. And that could be very frustrating. I know Aries risings are like, I want it and I want it now. But it was simply not your priority for the time being. And you could have lost touch with a dream that you thought was your dream, but you're like, wait, that was actually the expectations of people around me. That wasn't organic to my heart and to my soul. So really divorcing the idea of your desires and how other people impact them, because 10th house can be things that we do for other people because they look good, because it looks fancy, and you might have found that your career wasn't exactly working out and it's simply rerouting you into a different direction. So fear not the evolution. With this final close on this chapter, you'll be able to move forward in a way where the career part of your chart won't be afflicted by the south node and by eclipses, always hitting it. And if you did suffer a job loss at this time, or perhaps you finished a certification program, then you tried out for the job and it didn't work out, take a deep breath, notice what opportunities are really working for you and how you can integrate what you've learned about how to take care of yourself and what you want in work-life balance and where you want to live and how you want your lifestyle to be. Can that home base in your chart inform your career decisions? That's your work to create. Taurus rising, your work these past 2 years since July 2018 has been around messaging, community, communication. You have you may have experienced this loss of interest in traveling or in, learning all these abstract terms. You could have really bolstered your communicative ability, your immediate, social network, who you interact with. You might have noticed the divine beauty that is staying exactly where you are, finding beauty in your own backyard, in talking to your neighbors and talking to your hairstylist and treating every person as though they could be, a divine messenger. You never know the messages that can come through just from the people around you. And you might have noticed like those dreams that you used to hold really dear, like, oh, I really want to go to Bali for my yoga teacher certification, or I really want to move to Switzerland. Those dreams, they're beginning to lose their luster, or they might have been ripped away from you. And that also could be higher education dreams as well. I want to attend this college. I want to go there. You might have found that those were kind of out of your reach, or you could have just experienced a loss of interest in them. Like, okay, I used to think that for my life to have adventure and excitement, I needed to go all these places and do all these things. But these eclipses and this axis was meant to reveal to you that you can find learning and wisdom and connection in your own backyard, in the environment that you're around. If you have siblings or cousins, you could have spent more time with them or had a lot more kind of family events with that extended family and just found the beauty in feeling connected to people. And even if it's not like these broad abstract talks, just feeling how nice it is to just see another person, whether it's like the barista down the street or your mailman, and kind of build that connection and learn things about your neighborhood, about your community, etc. Gemini rising, your work this past 2 years was to be a self-sufficient individual. And that is not easy. You might have had some crises around support from other people, whether that's moral, emotional, financial. You could have had some experiences where maybe your parents cut you off or your spouse lost their income. And as a result, you felt this immense pressure. I've got to take care of myself. I've got to earn the money that I want to earn. I've got to plot out, if I want these things, I've got to work this much for it. I've got to budget. I've got to invest. It takes a lot of accountability, Gemini rising. And I know Gemini rising kind of go through life and want this lightness and this curiosity, which is such a beautiful thing. But you've kind of channeled that curiosity towards, how can I provide for myself? How can I make sure I live in a life where I'm never in a situation where other people can let me down as they have? Because it could be like, you broke up with your partner who was financing you, or that was your kind of dream of the direction that you were going in. And then you're like, okay, well now what? Or your parents announce that they no longer want to support you that way. It's realizing that we can't always just surrender and trust other people, that we've got to go out and provide for ourselves. So these past 2 years hopefully have revealed to you your own money-making ability, your ability to provide for yourself, to go after what you want, to be a self-sufficient individual, to invest in possessions that really give you joy. Cancer rising, oh my sweet, compassionate Cancers, you all are so much more comfy at home and with your shell protecting you. But this transit really asked you to be more visible and to be more independent as well. And these past 2 years, you've realized that your softness is not weakness, that just because you are kind-hearted and empathetic doesn't mean that you allow people to treat you however they want. With this axis, you might have found that these eclipses revealed to you, oh, I can't trust people I thought I could, or perhaps they have so much going on that they're not able to take care of you, or you just weren't able to find that support. So you had to show up in a much more tangible, visible way. You might have had to put yourself out there and start working because your partner wasn't able to, or you might have just had a breakup of some sort or business part breakup where it forced you to be on your own 2 feet and realize your strength in standing on your own 2 feet. Cancer rising gets this rap for just being like soft and fuzzy, but no, you guys are strong and shrewd. And I hope that these past 2 years revealed to you how freeing it is to know that you are strong, that no matter what, you've got you at the end of the day. You're nurturing, you are kind-hearted, you are giving, but that doesn't mean you can and should allow people who just treat you like however into your life. You might have had some circumstances where people really let you down or weren't able to show up the way that you deserve to be shown up for. Leo rising. Now you have a ruling planet of the sun. You are meant to shine in everything that you do. And you might find that these past 2 years, you've not had that inclination. You've been more likely to do things behind the scenes. You've been setting up structures and plans of tangible things that you probably won't see for a while, so doing the work on the back end. Or you might find that you're a lot more spiritual. The things that used to kind of make sense for your reality no longer do, and now you're more likely to be meditating, connecting. The outer world is likely not as interesting as what's happening within your own spirit, within your own mind. This is also such a powerful time for mindset work. So I hope at the end of this transit you realize how powerful it is to take accountability for your mindset, for the way the subconscious messages that frame your reality and how you experience reality. You might have found that you had to let go of some streams of income that you were receiving, or you had to let go of a health plan that you're really into, or exercise community that you were really into, in order to prioritize more space to dive into your intuition. And it could have been a heavily altruistic time as well, of connecting to the divine vision of what you want your life to be and the way that you want to give back. You could have tapped into your inner sort of martyrdom of what it means to sacrifice your skills for a bigger picture or for a cause that you hold dearly. You might have found that you've struggled with not being able to be of service to other people in the same way that you were before. You might experience a lack of energy, or you had to work to put in boundaries to protect your own right to your life and to your time, and that's perfectly okay, Leo. So I hope you're coming at the end of this and just realizing the work that you've done in solidifying your spirituality, your divine mission, and also getting comfortable with being alone, being isolated, and now you're more ready to rejoin your community and your professional network and all of those things. Virgo risings, you are so hardworking, and these past 2 years have really crystallized a lot of the work that you've been doing in regards to your community. You could have drastically expanded your reach or began to talk to new people, expanding your professional network quite a bit, because you've realized, you know, you're so hardworking, but all of your efforts, if no one's paying attention to them, go unnoticed, and it's, you know, fruitless. So you've really been putting a lot of effort to go to the happy hours, or, you know, go to the Zoom happy hours, or connect to new people who have, you know, dreams that are similar to you, and to realize that if you are the smartest person in your group of friends, you're in the wrong friend group, to continually seek inspiration from those that you are inspired by. And with that, there could have been some crises in needing to let go of forms of entertainment that used to be fun, or in not even recognizing what is fun for you anymore. It's like, you know, drinking or partying used to really be something that you adored, and then now it's like you feel disconnected with it. Or you could be disconnected with the forms of creativity you used to love. I'm a Virgo rising, and this transit, I've really kind of lost touch with writing. I used to write quite a bit, and then during this transit I lost touch with that. And I think we can definitely return to those aspects of what we enjoy, but this eclipse, it was trying to force us to widen our focus. Yes, it's beautiful to have fun, but think about the people you could impact and the legacy you could create, the hopes and dreams that you could build, rather than prioritizing what's fun, what gives me pleasure. Let me just go on a million dates just for the sake of it. 11th house is like, let's connect and let's build. So I hope at the end of these 2 years, Virgo rising, you're looking at the work that you've done, and you're realizing the strength that occurs when you band together with like-minded individuals and intentionally increase your reach. My Libra risings, the eclipses were hitting your 4th and your 10th house. And with this, career could have skyrocketed. You could have got a promotion from any time between July 2018 to now. You could have stepped up, leveled up in your career to really find something that you wanted to nurture. And you could have experienced a career change. Remember, with Cancer midheaven, you're really seeking to have something that is a passion project, something that really means something dearly to you. And you might have found you had less time to be with family, or there was a lot that came up with family that you weren't able to totally be there. There was drama surrounding family, or you could have had to move suddenly, or you had to live in a circumstance that you weren't super comfortable with. Home didn't feel very comfy, and where you were seeking your nurturing was really work and creating value for the world and paying attention to what is it that I want to build. Your focus went from just you to like the entire world, and like, where am I going? Am I set up for my future? And if your work is a passion project, building that consistently. Scorpio rising, since July 2018, you've been really expanding your viewpoint, and there's not one thing in life that you don't do intensely. And during this time, you could have been intensely focused on what is it that I want to learn? How do I want to grow? What is it that I believe in? What is my spiritual viewpoint of life? Broadening just what you know around you and thinking more big, broadening your world. With South Node in your third house, you could have moved from a neighborhood you knew well, or just experience this feeling of like, you know, when you're having small talk with your coworkers or with people around you, you're like, this is just not interesting me. I want to think bigger. I want to talk about past lives and all of these, you know, abstract topics. You might have sought spiritual communities where you felt that side of yourself was being acknowledged and seen and nurtured. And this is also the travel sector, so you could have had some amazing travels that really, really solidified the vision of the world that you want to create, where you met a lot of people. Of course, the end of it was also quarantine. So I hope that this journey really showed you how much more there is to life and how to extract meaning from the things that you do, Scorpio rising. Sagittarius rising, since July 2018, you might have found that you weren't able to produce income as you were before. You might have found that you lost a stream of income, or you were no longer as interested in it, or you took a lower paying job because it was something that you were spiritually connected to. However, you learned what it's like to be able to trust and rely on other people. So you could have had a stream of income come in that was unexpected, like perhaps your spouse was supporting you during this time, or your parents supported you, you got investors to bankroll your idea. North Node was in your 8th house of other people's money. So you might have found, whereas your income level was kind of stagnating, you know, your business partners was going up, and you learned what it's like to rely on other people, that it's possible to create passive income and income off, you know, harmonious partnerships, and that it's not always you needing to like go to the grind and 9 to 5 and just work super hard in something that you're not super passionate about. You could have had an epiphany during this time around the ways that you are willing and not willing to get income. It could have been a time where you're like, you know what, I don't need the nicest things. I just want to be happy, to have a lifestyle that reflects that happiness and that passion that I have for the world. You could have had some realizations like, oh gosh, I've been working so hard on this and I don't feel passionate about this at all, so I've got to quit my job, I've got to follow my intuition. However, you've learned what it's like to trust in the universe. And you also might have had to come to terms with some serious situations, had to come to terms with taxes and alimony and child support, and kind of handling these intense facets of life. You could have had to deal with, you know, your family's assets with it in Cancer and getting that all kind of situated. So I hope this 2 years have revealed to you that money is just one facet of life. It is not everything. And when you signal that you were open to receive support from others, it's bound to come. Capricorn rising. So these eclipses were impacting your 1st and 7th houses, which is a really, really intense eclipse. And you are so strong, Capricorn rising, and you're so used to, you know, everything being perfect and you being a high performer. You might have noticed these past 2 years, you're feeling a little off your game. You could have met some amazing people though, like started a new relationship or deepened the relationship that you already have and started leaning on that person a lot more. You might have just found that you aren't as likely to go out and try to seek the spotlight and be like, oh, I did this, that you're so much more comfortable combining your ideas with another's. You could have found that even though you are so capable and so efficient, Capricorn rising, that you are even more powerful when you combine that strategy with someone else. So I hope these 2 years revealed to you that yes, you are strong and you are powerful, but it's also powerful to kind of take a step back from your own ego and your own identity and dive into what it's like and what it means to be a partnership, to truly collaborate and compromise. Aquarius rising, your journey has been very busy. With North Node going into 6th house, you might have been learning how to structure your daily routine to make it more efficient. You may have been learning about your health, what foods make you feel good, what foods make you feel sick. You might have been experimenting with different health routines, trying to find the one that stuck. You might have found that there was like a lot more on your plate, that all of a sudden everyone around you is counting on you for all of these things. And you're like, when did I sign up for all this? But I hope you realized how capable you are. I mean, you handled it all. You really got disciplined about managing your time. And you might have found that you didn't have time to deal with spiritual aspects of life or just being by yourself. You were so present and so there for the people who needed you. You could have dove into service, what it means to practically serve the world around you, got more into your altruism and things like that. So I hope at the end of these 2 years, you're realizing, wow, I am an efficient, capable person who has a multitude of skills, and I provide so much value and so much service to this world around me. Pisces rising, your work these past 2 years has been about how to express yourself and how to create things into this world. So you may have really bolstered your creativity during this time, trying new mediums of art that make you feel supported and safe, or bolstering the ones that you already do. You may have spent more time with your children. And your crises could have been around your community. You might have had times where you look at the people around you and you're like, I just don't resonate. Like, I just feel like I'm somewhere else, and my immediate group or my friends or my colleagues just don't acknowledge where I'm at. And you might have found that your time was better spent just doing the things that make you feel free and happy, and going on dates to learn about yourself romantically, and creating things that you love, and spending time with your children, celebrating life. This is the party house. So I hope at the end of these 2 years, you look back at all your amazing memories and how you didn't need to conform to groupthink and what was expected of you of others, what it was like to just express yourself and create things that just felt good to create. Friends, I hope you take some time this weekend to really celebrate the work that you've done around these past 2 years, and look at this time for what you've built and what you've prioritized and how you yourself have shifted and evolved. I know when I think back to July 2018, that was the summer that I quit my 9-to-5 job. And now, coming at the end of it, it was such a scary time quitting my 9-to-5 to dive full-time into astrology and my other freelance work. But now looking back on it, I'm so thankful for that evolution. So it's not always comfy. Eclipses come with endings and goodbyes, but it's worth it and it's needed. Friends, I would love for you to join me over on Instagram. This is my handle. I host a Magic Monday every Monday morning that goes over what you can expect from the week's energy and how you yourself can seize it. If you found any value in this video, it helps me quite a bit if you could like, comment, and subscribe. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.